fishing because there's a lot of slack in my line, and the wind's kind of pulling it along. Another little trout. Came right out.
What's up, everybody? Thumpr fishing. All right, today is January 6th, 2024, and it is about 7:30 in the morning. It's about 53 degrees, which it's a little nippy. I got my heated seat on right now, and today's going to be one of the warmer days over the next couple days. But I'm still going to try and go fishing. So today it is a little bit nippy, but it should warm up to mid-70s. It said partly cloudy, but I'm not seeing any clouds right now. But the wind's going to be picking up really bad today, like yellow and red status. So no kayak fishing today. I'm going to meet up with my buddy Nelson, and we're going to do some shore fishing in the Merritt Island Wildlife Refuge. We have not done that in quite some time. It's been a few weeks. So hopefully we can maybe manage to get on some reds. Maybe even some black drum. I mean, you never know, right? Might even get a couple trout or snook. We'll see. But yeah, over the next couple days, it's going to get really, really cold. Today, I brought 4 rods, 2 for artificials and lures, and 2 for bait. So that's kind of the plan today. We're just going to kind of go for a walk. Try and not get too cold in the wind. Like I said, it should warm up a little bit. See if we can't get us some drums. All right, guys. Well, catch you over there. Well, while our bait's sitting, let's just see if we can't. This might not be the best one for wind right now, actually. We might change up the lure, something else. Super windy. Just trying to see what we can get into. I was seeing maybe if I could get a couple trout, but this wind's making it really hard to work any plastics. Might need to go with a heavier weight. All right, put a little bit heavier of a weight, but still not really making a big difference here. They're hitting it like right on the drop, this trout. And I can't get my slack in enough. Maybe we'll just
let the wind drag it and see what happens. See, there's another bump. There we go. Wow. All right, so maybe that's what we need to do. Just let it drift. Let's expose this hook a little bit more. I mean, there is weeds, but the way the wind's going, I need that hook exposed because they're hitting it right when it's hitting the drop in, and I can't seem to. I think it's little trout. Because they're out there a little bit deeper. I can't seem to get them right when they are biting it. Gotcha that time. Nice little trout. Told you they were in there. All right, this wind's just really bad right now, and you know that wind drags your line, but there is trout in this deeper water. I left the hook, like I like to do sometimes, exposed. There is grass, but they're hitting it right when it drops. They're not following it. So I wanted that hook exposed. But there is trout out here off this point. Gotcha. Another little trout. That's what I figured they'd be, just little trout. But if that's all we can get today, that's fine. Trout are fun. Look at that pretty guy. There you go. As I said, I figured we might as well just have fun today, because this wind is going to make it really difficult to catch fish. But you just never know. But if nothing, well, while we're waiting to see if anything takes the bait, this is the only thing I've been able to get hits on and work in this wind, is this z-mam crab. I'm leaving the hook exposed because there's a lot of slack in my line, and the wind's kind of pulling it along, kind of doing the movement for me. So yeah, see that wind just dragging it along. I'm trying to give it a little bit of pops to try and get the sink just a little bit, but the deepest it is out there is like 3 feet, so I'm not too worried about the depth right now. The main thing is just the wind dragging it. Trout and redfish love this z-mam cricket crab. Trying to get a cast when the wind's not blowing is almost impossible right now. angle here. We're just using this kicker crab. You want the hook exposed like that. Now sometimes when you're catching or you get bites, it'll snag a little bit of this plastic, and then you'll see it like that. See how it's snagged right there? You want to make sure you push that down. Now I'm leaving the hook exposed. Well, just threw that lure off. What the heck just happened? Dang it. All right. We got to retie. I just lost a little baby snook. Well, it was like, you know, small size, but I'm trying to turn on my camera here. Gotcha. Oh, I lost him. Get another one. Nice trout, biggest of the day. Beautiful. Dude, it is windy as hell right now. Got another one. Another little trout. Came right out. Get your back, buddy. Boy, this wind is bad. But we're still having some fun. I'm basically casting this into the wind, letting that kind of just drift with that wind, and then hopefully you can set the hook on them with this current. It's a little difficult. Oh, there's a little bump. Like I said, keep that hook exposed, especially when days like this where you can't keep that line real tight. You want it to make sure you get penetration by the time you could reel in that slack. Oh, I ripped him out right there at the end trying to get him over the mangroves. Oh, just a little trout. Those little guys are hard to keep hooked sometimes. right, well, it is just freaking windy. Probably one of the windiest days I've actually gone out and fished. My buddy, he got a couple stingrays. I didn't get a single hit on my cut bait. I was using cut ladyfish. Nothing. Wind was almost making it impossible. I was trying to throw different stuff. When you put something a little heavier on it, to actually not get blown around, you get in the grass. So I started doing that kicker crab. I was catching decent trout every 5 minutes. I could probably continue doing that all day long, but I was hoping for something a little bit better. It was fun. And then it got old. It's just dealing with this wind, casting. Having some issues with my left shoulder, so I'm not sure what the heck's going on with there, but I'm getting a sharp pain in it. Hey guys, let's get out of here. Everybody, that's gonna do it today. Woo, I knew it was gonna be windy, but my goodness was that, what was that? But my goodness was that windy. That might, I fished in some windy conditions, probably about the same, but that's pushing it. That might have been one of the windiest days that I have done. And I don't know what's going on, but I have a sharp pain in my shoulder. Maybe casting in that wind, I am not sure. Let's get home and ice that bad boy, because you can't have it a bad shoulder when I fish so much. All right, but we're throwing out everything we could think of today. It's just with that wind, it starts pulling your line, dragging it. You just can't get a good retrieve. Fishing mostly the shallows. I didn't have a lot of jig heads or artificials or lures that were really deep diving or had a lot of weight to it. But I did have some heavier Texas-side jigs with those kicker crabs. I couldn't get a good retrieve with, jerk baits, swim baits. So what I did is, the nice thing about that kicker crab is you can just pull it on the bottom and stop, because that tail part of it floats. And it kind of looks like a little crab scooting on the bottom. Or you can pop it, kind of like a jerk bait. Or you can just fish it straight, just like a paddle tail. And that's why I figured, okay, let's throw that on there and let's cast out as far as we can where we know there's a lot of little trout, because we weren't getting anything on bait. So I just wanted to have some fun. So I knew there's a little area off a point where there's always trout there. So I threw it out as far as I could, and as soon as it hits the water, your line is bowed and that wind is dragging that bait. But with that kicker crab, it sinked down about a foot and the wind would do all the work. And I was getting hits right on the drop or right on that drag. The only downfall is I probably caught over a dozen decent sized trout. Nothing big, but fun sized trout. Over a dozen. I lost easily over a dozen, and one of the reasons why is just because your line's so bowed, you'd feel that hit. And there's just so much line and slack that you got to try and tighten up. There was no keeping it tight fishing in that wind at the spot that we were at. We could have probably found another spot and cast with the wind and all that kind of stuff, but the wind was kind of parallel. So I lost a few to that, just not been able to set the hook properly, and then some of them I would lose right at the bank. But overall, we had fun. We still managed to get on some fish, even though it's windy. Did see a couple other people out there today just not having any luck at all, and it's just not the best conditions. It's warm. It says it's 76 right now, and that's why that wind's coming in. There is a big cold front coming in. So a lot of guys were trying to get out there and go fishing today, but with that wind, you can still catch fish, but you need to find what works and what doesn't work. You need to find a location where you think the fish are holding. If you could find a spot that's protected from the wind, even better. If you can't, you need to be throwing something that's going to stay in the strike zone the longest possible. Doing what I was doing, I still
was only in the strike zone where I knew those trout were for maybe 10 seconds before it drifted out. Just too much of a wind current. But that's kind of the key there. But those kicker crabs, and another little trick or tip, when you have a lot of slack in that line, or you're having fish real lightly hit it, another thing that I like to do, especially if you don't have a lot of weeds to deal with, leave that hook exposed. You know, put that bait right in the middle of the hook. And that way that hook is exposed, and you can still, it'll help increase it. So by the time that you can get that line tight, at least it's kind of pierced them. Otherwise, when you kind of rig that kicker crab kind of weedless, right, in order to get a good hook set, you got to get it to come out of that plastic and then pierce his mouth. With all that slack, it's a lot harder. So I was having a hard time hooking up. But once you expose that hook, it fishes just the same, but you will get a little bit more weeds, obviously. But yeah, anyway, that kind of does it today. I might go out tomorrow. I might not. I'm going to look at the weather and stuff when I get home. It's going to be less windy today, but it's going to be a cold wind. I think it might even hit the 30s tonight, everybody. So, you know me, I'm not a big fan of the cold. I did that for a decade, and yeah, we'll see. Anyway, everybody, I appreciate you for watching, as always, and we'll see what else we can get into. Even if it's cold the next couple of days, I'll get out. Catch you in the next one. Tight lines. Peace.